Alrighty, so what I want to do here is I just want to go into Pythagoras. I just want to discuss a little bit about what Pythagoras is and how that works. So what is Pythagoras? Pythagoras is kind of one of the cornerstone concepts within mathematics. And because it is so central, and it is a huge part of geometry, we use it all of the time in engineering and construction, in physics, in all areas of mathematics, really. So, what is it and what does it look like? Pythagoras' theory, or the Pythagorean theorem, really, is all about right angle triangles. Now, when I talk about right angle triangles, I mean any triangle that has a 90-degree internal corner. Now, we often use a little square. Oh, I got rid of it. A little square on the inside to denote where the right angle triangle is. So it means that this area from here to here is 90 degrees. Now, other things to know, the angle opposite, it's not letting me do it, is this one over here is often called the hypotenuse, and we usually represent that with an H. Now it's usually the one opposite the 90-degree corner. It's also always the longest length longest side of the triangle. Okay, so what is Pythagoras' theorem? Pythagoras' theorem, or the Pythagorean theorem, is simplified to mean a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, what does that mean? And then what does that mean for the triangle? All right, so we're going to label each one of these sides. So we're going to say this side here is A, this side here of this triangle is B, and we're going to call the H C. Right, just to confuse it, we're going to give it two names. The hypotenuse is going to be labeled as C. Okay, and how does that work? What that means in reality is that if we have different lengths of the side here, so we'll say A is 3, and we'll say that B is 4, and we always use units, so we're going to say millimeters. It's an itty bitty triangle, right? A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? We don't know what C is yet. C, the length of C is still a bit of a mystery at this point. So we're going to use Pythagoras' theorem to make it work, to find out what it is. So we're going to say 3 squared, to use that, 3 squared plus 4 squared is going to equal, of course, C squared, but we don't know what C squared is yet. So 3 squared plus 4 squared gives us an answer of 25. However, that 25 is not the answer of C, because what that is C squared. So to take, what we need to do then is we need to take C squared and turn it into, why do I keep writing 2's everywhere? Well, I need to take C squared and turn it into C. Alright, so to do that, we use the square root symbol on your calculator, and we're going to say, put the square root of 25 equals 5. So what we know from there, then, is that 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. And because there's all the squares, we can get rid of all the squares, and we can say 3 plus 4 equals 5 in terms of square rooting. So what we know then is that this, the C side, or the hypotenuse, is 5 millimeters long. So that could be a little bit confusing. So we're just going to take that back and do that again, just to kind of simplify that a tad. All right, fine, working. No, it's really not letting me do that. Okay, so we're just going to ignore that, and we're going to do a similar one. All right, so I mean it's just a variation on 3, 4, 5, but we'll say 60. This side here is 60. This side here is 80. So 60 squared plus 80 squared equals an answer, right? That answer is going to be a certain number squared. Right, so if we go 60 squared plus 80 squared, we're going to get, I don't know, question mark squared. What we can do then is we can take that question mark squared, whatever that answer is, and we can give the square root, and then we will get 100 squared, of course, because that's how that works. Cool, 100 squared, right? Which means that we know that this here will end up being 100. Okay, so that is a rough gist of how that works. I hope that is slightly more helpful to you. But the common mistake here is forgetting to square root it when people give us the answers. So you go a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then to get your final answer of what the distance of c is, you need to do the square root of that answer and go from there. Cool. Right, I hope that's been helpful. Yeah.